everybody fucking knows about. It's your boy Dario, aka the TimeFlies podcast. To the left of me, I got my guy Mike in the building. What's good, my guy? What's good, champ? What's good, champ? So this episode, we are going to be talking about something that we still haven't been able to process.
Literally.
The Knicks being the fucking champions of the NBA. Usually to start off the episode, you know, I do a mental health check-in. I check in with the family.
We're well, bro.
We're good.
We're well.
We're going straight into it, bro.
Well.
We're going straight into it. So, all right, I'm just going.
Yeah.
I'm just going. All right.
Let's riff.
So, where I want to start off, this episode, we're going to be talking about a lot. We're going to be talking about Jalen. We're going to talk about Cat. We're talking about the future of the Knicks, what it looks like, the actual run in the playoffs, the actual run in the finals. We're going to be talking about all that. Where I want to start, though, I want to start by giving credit to Mike Brown.
Oh, most deservingly.
100%. And the reason why is because down 2-1 to the Atlanta Hawks, it was danger time.
That was it. It
was danger time, and we were in the danger zone, bro. Down 2-1 to the Atlanta Hawks, and the reason why I want to start off giving credit to Mike Brown is because Jalen Brunson is going to get all the credit, much deserved. Cat is going to get some as well. OG are definitely going to get some. But the key moment in the playoffs and the finals run is Game 4, where Mike Brown made a really big adjustment to the offense. It was a big adjustment, but it was kind of like all he did was he made Cat the focal point of the offense. Yep. And it wasn't to the point where we needed Cat to be aggressive. Like when I say Mike Brown made Cat the focal point of the offense, it wasn't to give him the ball and make him score every single time. What Mike Brown did was he made Cat the focal point of the offense, but more so as a facilitator. He was the one that was pretty much running the offense was running through him, but what Mike Brown realized was that Cat's ability to pass and to assist it unlocked everything for the Knicks. And literally from there, the rest of the series against the Atlanta Hawks was incredible. Philly, Cleveland, all that stuff, we'll get into it. But that's one of the most underrated things about Cat that we aren't talking about. When he got here, I knew what type of player he was, and I knew that he could pass, but I didn't know to what length. I didn't know that he could do it to that level. And when Mike Brown made that switch, bro, it literally unlocked everything. And
everyone else became a weapon too.
100%. And the amount of interviews that I've seen since we won the chip, I've seen Monica McNutt. She was on Get Up on one of the segments. I think it was yesterday, the day before, and she mentioned how when they were down 2-1 to the Atlanta Hawks, she talked to Deuce, and she said that what happened in Game 4, like it seemed like Game 4, everything unlocked and everything just went straight. It went up from there. And Deuce told Monica that literally they knew the situation. They knew what was at stake, and then Deuce, quoting Monica McNutt, Deuce told Monica that it was winning time. So, yeah, they knew what they were going up against, and they knew that they couldn't mess up anymore, and that subtle change that Mike Brown made for Cat in the offense, it just everything went up. So that's where I want to start.
You could kind of just see it with the observing eye, the fact that Mike Brown has been trying to figure out how to use Cat, or maybe just as a team, they've been trying to establish their roles for the majority of the year. And Cat, I feel like, has been trying to find himself. And like you said, it just felt like something unlocked after that Game 3 loss. I'm curious now what the offense looks like going into next season. But, you know, with the adjustment that they make, because, you know, that's not the only adjustment. And obviously we'll go further into, like, the finals themselves. Yeah. But they're low-key. Mike Brown has been kind of putting on a coaching clinic throughout these playoffs. Like
100%.
Some of the adjustments he's made, the way that he utilized the bench and the depth generally, it sold it to a guy like me who, I think I've said it on this pod before, I had my questions and my reservations about letting go of Tibbs, but these playoffs said you needed to let go of Tibbs or we would have fucking never been here. Even like the thing, like, having Alvarado and Brunson on the floor at the same time and how that energy meant, like...
That's literally... So bear with me because this episode I'm gonna try and keep it as organized as possible. But honestly, there's so much things that I want to tackle. So I might be a little bit all over the place. So bear with me. Sure. But literally, the next note that I have regarding Mike Brown and giving him his flowers is what you just mentioned. It was in Game 4 of the Finals where he left Jose Alvarado in the lineup, especially in the second half against Jalen Brunson, because Jalen Brunson, for that game, the Spurs were being super physical with Jalen Brunson. They were trapping him. They were cutting him off. They were hedging him. They were just showing bodies at him. And Mike Brown made the adjustment of leaving Jose Alvarado because he knew that Jalen Brunson needed another ball handler. And credit to Jose, he stepped up to the plate and he made some timely plays. But that's just another example of Mike Brown, like you said, like coaching Miss Johnson in circles. Miss Johnson,
fuck you.
Yeah, I mean, Miss Johnson, first-year coach. The San Antonio Speeds as a collective group is their first run to the finals. So, yeah, they made mistakes, and we'll get to that. Yeah. But staying on Mike Brown, he was the right option for Coach Tibbs. You said you weren't 100% with the move for getting rid of Tibbs. Yeah. I remember we did a podcast, link in the description. We did a podcast to begin this season, and we talked about how I wasn't mad at the move because Coach Tibbs to me is a coach that he's a culture setter. Like a team like the Washington Wizards, the Charlotte Hornets, the Utah Jazz, those teams that have talent but they're up and coming, Coach Tibbs is the perfect coach for that. Yeah. But I don't think he's necessarily going to get you over that hump. Now, in that same podcast, I told you that I didn't think Mike Brown was the guy either.
And a lot of people said,
Absolutely. That conversation is done.
No. It's in the guard. It's in the dumpster.
It's done. There's so many conversations that are done. Mike Brown being, what kind of coach are you? Are you a coach? Because when he went to the chip in 2007, a lot of the conversation was you had LeBron at his peak, at his athletic peak, at his athletic skills peak. So they got swept to the Spurs, but you had LeBron in his prime. So that was a lot of the conversation. And then from the Cleveland Cavaliers, he goes to the Lakers. He doesn't get along with Kobe. I think he's only there for a season. They leave him. He goes back to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They fire him. He goes to Sacramento. He has a good season going to the playoffs, but they ultimately get rid of him, and that's how we get him. So Mike Brown, he had a lot of
the assistant with the Warriors too.
That as well. Yeah, he has 2 chips, I believe, with the Warriors, but he was an assistant. Steve Kerr had the main chair. So there was just a lot of noise around Mike Brown's career. Yeah. And then this is gonna go into my next point. I always said I never understood why players didn't want to come to New York, and coaches as well. Now, when I say that out loud, literally right now, I kind of get it because for so long the Knicks have been of a joke of an organization. Yeah. Not organized. They weren't hiring the right people, and then those people were not making the right moves. Yeah. So I do get it, but then it's but if you win, I get it. Let's put all that to the side. Right. But let's look at the upside. If you win here as a player, if you win here as the head coach,
never pay for a meal again.
Never pay for a meal again. All those narratives are going to be put to bed. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about what the Knicks look like in the future. But for me, if we don't win the chip next year, I'm perfectly fine, bro. Yeah. I'm perfectly fine. If we don't win the chip, if we don't make it to the finals, I mean, obviously, I don't want us to get knocked out in the first round. But if we don't make it to the finals and we don't win, I'm perfectly fine because they gave us something that we never seen in our lifetime. So, okay, kind of bringing it back. Like I said, I'm a little all over the place.
I don't know.
Bear with me.
There's a lot of emotions flowing.
There's so many
like this.
So many emotions, so many feelings. Okay, so Mike Brown, yes, I wanted to give him credit because that adjustment was something that I've never seen an adjustment like that from a head coach in the NBA, where it just the rest of the series, the rest of the playoffs, it looked like a completely different team. The first 2 games. This whole series wasn't sweet, bro.
It wasn't.
Every game we didn't come out strong, bro. The first 2 games in San Antonio, of course, we're on the road, so the San Antonio Spurs crowd, they were gonna be hectic. So okay, granted, cool. But I was not expecting them to come out flat in Game 3 and Game 4. Game 3 being the first Knicks Finals home game since '99. Mm-hmm. I mean, then we got the whole President Trump thing. Yeah. Yo, so much stuff has happened, bro.
Shit, man.
So much stuff has happened.
It's fucking loaded.
But I was very disappointed in how the Knicks came out in Game 3 and 4 because, like I said, the home crowd, the energy, and they came out flat. Especially in Game 3, they looked tight to me. They look tight. They look, I don't want to say nervous, but they just look like
It looked like they were almost faltering to what was going on and kind of being on it, you know, on that MSG floor. You have Trump there, which, you know, however we feel about him, but to have the president at the game and, you know, bright lights of a Madison Square Garden finals game, you're up 2-0. You know, the expectation is, well, you took the 2 in San Antonio. You come game 3, Madison Square Garden. You gotta win this here, right?
So I'm not sure if I texted this to you, if I was texting it in the group with my other friends. But I said that I expected a sweep after game 1 and 2.
You definitely said that, yeah.
And the reason why was because I did not expect San Antonio to be their first win of the finals to be on the road, especially after how they looked in games 1 and 2. In games 1 and 2, we were able to go there, we were able to win on the road, and a lot of it was because of their mistakes that they made. I think it was game 1, or it might have been game 2. It's all a little fuzzy in my mind. Yeah. But when Wemby caught the rebound, he threw it to Steph Castle, and Steph Castle wasn't even looking at him.
That was game 2, because that's the one who really squeaked out. Like,
so like we had help, but like that certain, and there was a lot of like just basic turnovers. De'Aaron Fox, he definitely had a horrible series. De'Aaron Fox had like just stupid turnovers where like he's literally just throwing it into the crowd, and I'm just like I didn't like the way they looked. So then that's why I was like, there's no way that they're gonna win 1 out of the 2 games at MSG, with it being the first finals home game since '99. I thought the energy was gonna really rattle the Spurs, and actually in game 3 it didn't. They were able to put their big boy pants on and they actually caught a W. Yeah. Game 4 we caught that W, but that's why I thought it was gonna be a sweep.
Game 3 looked like it rattled the Knicks more than it rattled the Spurs, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, it might sound melodramatic to some who haven't endured this struggle with us, but it's a lot to process. So pardon me if I don't remember all the details, but what I will say is that Brunson came out slow in game 1.
Okay.
Right? But when it mattered, he turned the fucking jet fuel on.
Right.
But I gotta be honest, and I should go on record saying this, I never felt that it was gonna be a sweep.
Since we're just talking about the games 1 and 2, I did want to talk about a little bit about Cat. Games 1 and 2.
Fuck yes, how could I forget, bro?
Game 1 and 2, Cat was MVP.
Bro, and we definitely texted that to each other because, and that stood out, especially in game 1, because obviously the credit was gonna go to Brunson for tying it all up at the end, but Cat is what kept us in that fucking game. Cat was holding it down. He was passing, he was scoring, he was doing the jab step on the perimeter, beating Wemby too. They low-key exposed Wemby in that regard. Because OG started doing it too, but Cat was doing that jab step at the perimeter drive, and he was getting around Wemby with relative ease.
Yeah.
But he was fucking doing it, man. Cat was showing the fuck out.
So I got the stats pulled up here regarding all the games for Cat in the finals. We're definitely gonna do this with Jalen Brunson too. But yeah, games 1 and 2, I was so proud of the way Cat played. Because of, if you watched any of the episodes that we put out, we've talked about our frustrations with Cat. The fouling, the not playing to his potential. And in games 1 and 2, I remember vividly seeing Cat take Wemby off the dribble. I'm like, I didn't expect that. And it's not because I didn't think Cat was capable of it. But like, I was watching so much of Wemby throughout the playoffs.
You didn't think he'd go down like that.
I thought Wemby was going to be able to hold his own. And then I'm seeing Cat put the ball on the floor, attacking Wemby, hitting his shots. And I'm like, if we had this Cat consistently, then yes, we're 100% going to win the NBA Finals. But we only got it for the first 2 games, which you might say they were the most important because we were able to beat the visiting team in their home court, set the tone of the series. But going to Cat, man, I was so proud at the way he played. And going towards Cat, in the first game, he had 18 and 12. He was 7 of 15 from the floor, 46%. He took 2 3-pointers, and he didn't make any of them. And we won that game 105-95. The second game, that was the bit of a nail biter, the one that you were saying a little earlier, 105-104. He had 21 points, 13 rebounds. He was 8 of 12 from the floor, 66%. He was 3 of 5 from 3-point line, 60%. Now, after game 2, we got to keep it a buck. What I've always, I mean, and it's obvious too. I'm not pulling anything out of thin air. Like, he had the Finals MVP in his bag.
Yeah.
And something else that I've learned about Cat from this run, and especially what he's been doing in all his interviews since we won the championship. They've been going on The View. They've been going on Good Morning America, Jimmy Fallon. Cat is a very, very team-oriented guy.
Yep.
It's not about him. And I remember in one of the episodes, you actually asked me, you were like, yo, do you think that there's a little bit of friction, a little bit of tension that this is Jalen Brunson's team and Cat doesn't feel like it's his team? And I said no. But obviously I'm not a part of the team, so I don't know behind closed doors. Maybe Cat does feel away. But since I've seen him do all his interviews, like, he's not. He's such a team-oriented person. And after game 2, I wanted Cat to win the Finals MVP because the whole narrative around his name would so change. It would go from, you can't win with this guy. It would go from, why doesn't this guy actually maximize his potential? All those conversations, it'll go from that to, this guy's a champ. We can't talk about him anymore. Same thing with Mike Brown. Same thing with Jalen Brunson. But after game 2, we lost game 3. He had 11 points, 8 rebounds. He 4 of 10, 40%. He took 2 3-pointers. He didn't make it. Game 4, we won. That's the OG game. Yep. 13 and 10. But like, the games after game 2, the games we won 4 and 5, Cat didn't have the same impact as he did. Look, game 5,
he fouled out.
Yeah, bro. Look, game 5. Look, 2 points.
Yeah.
10 rebounds. He was 1 of 7 from the floor, and he was 0 of 2 from 3-point line. So the impact just wasn't the same after game 2. And I was so hoping Cat was gonna play like this for the rest of the series, and it just didn't happen.
Nonetheless,
yeah, talk to me.
His profile leveled up with a championship. Even though obviously you saw the game 1 and 2 performances, and honestly, you want your second best guy to perform on that level consistently, but I'm willing to forgive just on the basis of that game 1. He really kept us in that game. If it wasn't for Cat, 100%. We don't win that game. Brunson probably doesn't even get the opportunity to perform the magic that he did. But
average for the series, he averaged 13 points. He averaged 10 rebounds. He averaged 4.8, which would be 5 field goals made on 10 field goals attempted, which is 50%. His 3-point shooting was abysmal. He averaged 0.8 out of 2.5 3-pointers, 33.3%. Okay, so those are averages for Cat for the series. What I was going to ask you, right now when you were just talking, you were like, for our second guy, we would like.
Yeah. And
I wanted to ask you, is he the second best player on the team?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think so.
I
think especially, and I'm less reluctant to say that.
Because I'm pulling up OG's numbers
no.
right now, dog.
Well,
I'm pulling them up, dog.
Well, let's be clear. Mm-hmm. OG is my favorite Knick over everyone on this team. I'm less reluctant to say it now, especially after you saw what he can do just from the standpoint of facilitating too. And so I'm comfortable in saying Cat's the second guy.
I agree with you, but I want to just play devil's advocate. So just remember these numbers. 13, 10, 49% from the floor, and 33 from 3. So let's take a look at OG's numbers. So for the averages for OG, yeah, look at that, bro. 21 points, 4.8 rebounds. He was 6.5 field goals made on 12, which is 52.5%. 3.2 3-pointers made on 6.5 3-pointers attempted, which is 50%. I mean, I get what you're saying. Mm-hmm. But now let's take a look at each game individually. So game 1, we win. 17 points, 3 rebounds, 5 of 12 from the floor, 41%, 3 of 6 from 3-point, 50%. Game 2, he had 17 points, 4 rebounds, 5 of 10 from the floor, 50%, 2 of 5, 40%.
I mean, no, there's no doubt.
Throughout the whole series, OG was more consistent than Cat.
Oh, if Brunson doesn't have that Game 5 performance, there's a chance that OG is your series MVP.
I think he is.
That's not, so there's no question that in this series, who, honestly, maybe even the number 1 guy was in this series. With the exception of the closeout game in Game 5. That's kind of what drew the distinction. But generally speaking, I mean, we don't have to take this deep of a dive, but I'm wondering what the full season stats look like, or the full,
So OG for the season averaged 16.7 points,
Okay.
5.2 rebounds,
Mm-hmm.
2 assists, and 1.6 steals.
Yeah, defensively, I mean, that's...
Field goals made, he averaged 5.8, which is 6 field goals made on 12 field goals attempted, which is 50%. He averaged 2.3 three-pointers made on 6 three-pointers attempted, which is 38.6%.
So what's that, 16, 5, and 2 average, like in terms
16,
of
5,
points?
16, 5, 16 points, 5 rebounds,
2 assists.
2 assists.
Okay.
For this season, Cat averaged 20 points, 11.9, which is really 12 rebounds,
Yeah.
and he averaged three assists. As far as field goals, he averaged 6.9 field goals made, which is 7, on 13.8, which is 14, so that's 50%. He averaged 1.5 three-pointers made on 4 three-pointers attempted, which is 36.8, 37%. Yeah, it's just really hard. It's really hard, and especially when all we care about, when I say we, I'm talking about you and me.
Yeah.
We care about when it matters most.
Yes.
When the lights are on the brightest.
That's
the regular season is 82 games of people can take nights off.
And
so like
in the NBA, they do it with a special talent where it's just like not even the same team during the regular season versus the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. So like when it matters most, yeah, you could say OG is the second best player, bro.
I would gladly say OG's the second best player.
I just really wish Cat had. Jesus, that really does look like me.
Yes.
I just really wish Cat was able to put it together. That way, everybody could just shut the fuck up, bro.
Yeah.
I mean that the narrative is still gonna be there with Cat. I don't know if you know, but he's eligible for an extension this summer.
Yes.
It's 4 years, 272.
Yeah.
That's a conversation we're gonna have to have.
Yep.
And there's a lot of other stuff that goes into it. But before we get there, now it's time to finally talk about
El Capitan.
El Capitan, the man who's going to go down. This whole team is going to go down in Knicks lore.
Yeah.
This whole team is going to go down, one of the legends of New York City, of New York, the state of New York forever.
Without fucking doubt.
But this guy,
I
I texted you, Isaiah Thomas,
what?
Stephen Curry.
Yeah.
Steph Curry is interesting though, because he's listed as 6'3", and he's like a stocky 6'3".
Yeah.
So as far as like small guards, if you want to put him in that conversation, okay, cool. If you don't, I kind of understand. But from the consensus of what I've been seeing from all these NBA legends talking and all these talking head shows that I've been watching, Isaiah Thomas, Stephen Curry, and Jalen Brunson.
Yep.
Those are the only 3 small guards that have been facts. That have been the best player on their team, leading them not to a playoff appearance, not to a conference finals appearance, not to a finals appearance, but have led them to win the chip and bring the Larry O'Brien trophy home. And when we talk about Steph and Isaiah Thomas, like those are like legends that us as Knicks fans, we've never had a player to be in the conversation with the legends of the game. Patrick Ewing is very respected around the league, but when you start talking about tiers of legends, Patrick Ewing is always going to be left behind because he doesn't have a ring, because he didn't lead a team to the championship. He doesn't have a regular season MVP. He doesn't have a finals MVP. Like, unfortunately, Patrick Ewing is going to be left behind.
With the second tier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson being our best player for the New York Knicks, he's in the conversation, and we've never had a player in the conversation. And like that's one of the things when I step back and look at it, I'm like, these conversations are they're gonna be so different now. Because when we talk about that player, we're gonna be talking about him with that New York Knicks jersey on.
Yep.
And one of the stats is 45 points, and I believe in a NBA Finals series clincher. I might be getting that wrong, but he's in a conversation with Jordan.
Yep.
The greatest player of all time in a lot of people's eyes. Yo, dude, it's just so weird when I think about it like that. But yeah, when we talk about small players, we could bring up John Stockton, we could bring up Allen Iverson, we could bring up Steve Nash, we could bring up so many of these small players that are top 75 players.
But they weren't the guy on their team.
They weren't able to lead their team to a chip. Allen Iverson, he dropped 48 in game 1.
Right.
Yeah, but he only got that game 1 win. He didn't win the finals. He didn't win the chip. He didn't get the finals MVP. So he didn't do it. Steve Nash never went to the finals. Who I mentioned someone else.
John Stockton, but John Stockton and Karl Malone. It's like
it was like a tandem thing. It was never. It was never John Stockton is the best.
And which Steve Nash? Not to go too far off on a tangent, but which Steve Nash are you referring to? You're referring to Maverick Steve Nash? Or you're referring to Suns Steve Nash?
Mostly Suns.
Yeah,
because that's when he got the 2 chips. I mean, the 2 MVP, the 2 MVP joints.
Amari was with him.
Yeah, Amari was. Yeah, he was in it because he was injured. So one of the years he went to the Western Conference Finals with Steve Nash. I believe it was in 2010. They lost to the Lakers, but Amari was with both because he went to the Western Conference Finals and they played the Spurs and they lost in 5, and I think that was like 2006. And Amari was in that, but that was like a young Amari before all the injuries really started hitting him. Okay, so now let's bring it to the cap. And a lot of these points that Mike and I are going to be talking about, some of them are like reiterated, some of them we mentioned it again. What you said was up until game 5, really, Brunson didn't really have a Brunson-like series.
Yeah.
He was able to close out games. 4th quarter, Brunson was like, yo, I'm the dude, give me the ball, I'm going to close this out, and I'm going to get this W. But quarters 1, 2, and 3, for a majority of the series, he was getting his points, but it didn't have the same impact.
Yeah.
And if we're looking at the exact numbers for the series, 32.6 points, 4 rebounds, 4.6 assists, 11 field goals made on 26.6 field goals attempted, 42%. 2.8 3-pointers made on 7.2 3-points attempted, which is 38.9%. Game 1, he had 30 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. But game 1, look at the shot attempts. 12 of 31 from the floor.
Yeah.
38%. Not great. 2 of 9 from 3-point line, 22%. Game 2, he had 20 points. He had 5 rebounds. He had 6 assists. Again, he had 7 field goals made on 25 field goals attempted, 28%. 2 of 8 from 3-point line, which is 25%. So again, games 1 and 2, he might have had good numbers, but they weren't really good Jalen Brunson games. Game 3, 32 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 11 of 25 from the floor, 44%. 3 of 5 from 3-point line, 60%. Game 4, he had 36 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 12 of 25, 48%, 3 of 7 from 3-point line, 43%. And then he had his breakout game, and of course, it's when we needed it most. He went, I think it was in the 4th quarter, where he had literally a 10-0 run by himself. 45 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 14 of 27 from the floor, 52%, 4 of 7 from 3-point line, 57%.
Ridiculous.
There were moments in that game 5 where I was watching the TV, and again, I was having the conversation with myself. I'm like, we never had a player like this.
No, never.
Kobe-esque, where like he wants the ball, he's not afraid of the moment, he's going to come through in the clutch, and he came through in the clutch.
Never had a clutch player like that.
And then he was also he was also hurt in that game because in one of the points he hit a 3-pointer and he landed on Wemby's foot, and when you watch the replay, like he rolled his ankle.
Yeah. And
it was pretty bad. I couldn't even watch it because I hate watching rolled ankles on replays. That game, you said a little earlier, the game 5 is what solidified him as being the Finals MVP.
Yeah.
And when you have a performance like that, 45 points on the road, series clincher, like, bro, like you're gonna get Finals MVP.
Yeah. You gotta have a conversation about, the greatest Knicks ever.
Is he?
That's a debate to be had. I think I want to say yes as almost like a prisoner of the moment. Maybe I'm not being a prisoner of the moment, but I think when I watched the point that Rick Brunson, his own father, made, who said Patrick Ewing is the greatest Knick, and at first I'm like, are you like saying that shit just to like motivate your son to go out and get another one? Maybe that's part of it, but I think the reasoning that Rick Brunson presented in terms of, okay, maybe Ewing never won a championship, but that dude ran himself to the bone as, the leader of Knicks.
He's better than Ewing, dog. I'm sorry, bro. Let's keep it a buck. Like, Ewing's my favorite player. Ewing does not have a chip. Ewing does not have a Finals MVP. I'm sorry.
I guess
I'm sorry.
That's the matter. That's kind of the perspective that, or the distinction that's made. Because, like Rick Brunson was saying, and maybe a lot of Knicks fans feel like the championship isn't what does it. It's the fact that this dude held it down for 15 years, was the head of the team through those 90s battles with the Bulls, which that's a good argument.
And he's going up against literally the best player of all time in some people's eyes. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And you know, as we're talking it through, and like I said, as maybe a prisoner of the moment, I want to say Brunson is the best Knick, even though, you know, he has a third of the time in as a Knick in comparison to Ewing, but at the same time, to the point you were just making, Ewing missed a finger roll when it mattered most. Brunson never shied away from the big moment and always shows up in the big moment. The Knicks have never had that. That's, to me, when you see a player who rises to the occasion in the form of greats throughout sports, whether it's your Tom Brady's, whether it's your, your Derek Jeters, your Jordans, they perform when it matters the most. And I think that's, for me personally, what gives Brunson the edge and why I would say he's the greatest Knick of all time.
So, I don't think he's the greatest Knick of all time, but I definitely do think that he surpassed Patrick Ewing. Unfortunately, yes, for the duration and the amount of time that Patrick Ewing played for the Knicks, I think it was like 10 years, basically, right? Something like that. And he was able to get to the finals once. And during that whole tenure with the Knicks, he was going up against, in some eyes, the best player of all time.
Who, Ewing?
Yeah, how long was he with the Knicks?
About 15 years, but he had 2 finals appearances.
No, that 99 didn't count, bro.
99.
No, not 99 didn't count. He didn't play.
His knees were gone.
Nah, he fucked up his wrist. He broke his wrist. And his knees were gone. Yeah, and his knees were gone. But honestly, I don't count that because I just don't count that. Like, I don't think he would have made any difference against Tim Duncan and David Robinson. But I definitely think he surpassed Patrick Ewing because to this point, Jalen Brunson and Patrick Ewing, they both have 1 finals appearance. Jalen Brunson, we just looked at the numbers, averaging 32 points, 45 points in a closeout game, and a finals MVP. He put the team on his back, and he made the team cross the finish line. Yep. Patrick Ewing, and it's not like Jalen Brunson was going up against a collective group. He was going up against one of, if not, he's going up against someone who literally has the ability to be the best basketball player that has ever lived. That's my personal opinion. So it's not like he was going against scrubs. It's not like he was going up against a collective unit. He was going up against someone who's, if everything turns out right for him, I think he could be the best basketball player to ever live. Now, the reason why I said that is because Patrick Ewing was going up against Hakeem Olajuwon. Hakeem Olajuwon is underrated. He definitely deserves to be in the top 10. Me personally, I'm putting him in the top 10. But whenever you talk about one of the better players of all time, Hakeem, Isaiah Thomas, those players get severely underrated. Yeah. So I'm bringing up the point that Patrick Ewing also wasn't going up against nobody. He was going up against an all-time great. Yeah. So you got Jalen Brunson going up against someone who's going to become an all-time great. You got Patrick Ewing who went up against an all-time great. Who was able to close the deal? Right. Jalen Brunson. Sure. Jalen Brunson, we just looked at the numbers. 32 points averaging, 45 in a series clincher. I pulled up Patrick Ewing's stats for the finals, and we have it right here in front of us. For averages for the series, 18.9 points, 12.4 rebounds, 1.7 assists, 1.3 steals. How many blocks? 4.3 blocks. He averaged 8.3 field goals made on, 23 shots attempted, 36%. Obviously no three-pointers. Yeah. Now, if we take a look at the games individually, that series went 7. In the first game, 23-9, 10 of 26 from the field, no three-pointers. Why do I keep going to three-pointers? Patrick Ewing didn't take threes. Game 2, 16 points, 13 rebounds, 7 of 19 from the floor. Game 3, he had 18 points. He had 13 rebounds, 7 blocks, 9 of 29 field goals made and attempted, which is 31%. Game 4, 16 points, 15 rebounds, 1 block, 8 of 28 from the field. Damn, he was putting them up, which is 28% from the floor. The next game, 25 points, 12 rebounds. He had 8 blocks, 11 of 21, 52%. Game 6, he had 17 points, 15 rebounds, 4 blocks, 6 of 20, 30%. points. The last game, 17 points, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks, 7 of 17, 41%. So, I mean, unfortunately, man, he definitely has a notch over Patrick Ewing. But the reason why I say that he is not the greatest Knick of all time. Now, this is way before our time. Mm-hmm. We didn't see it with our own 2 eyes. But if we're going to take into account the accolades, if we're going to take into account what you did as far as being one of the better players on your team, Willis Reed and Walt Clyde Frazier, they have 2 rings. Now, I wasn't around to see it for myself, so I don't know if Willis Reed was the best player on the team. I don't know if Walt Clyde Frazier was the best player on the team. But from what I've gathered from the Stephen A's, from the Talking Head shows, it was kind of like a tandem thing between Walt Clyde Frazier and Willis Reed. So if you're going to put 1A and 1B, they were the better players on their team. They have 2 rings and Brunson only has 1 right now. Yeah. So, and I don't want to be caught in a recency bias. So that's why I'm putting Brunson right now. He's 3rd on the list. He's not the greatest nigga of all time. But him surpassing Patrick Ewing is a huge thing. Yeah. Because we haven't had anybody since Patrick Ewing to tip our cap, to look up to. That's our guy. So that's just all I wanted to say regarding the greatest Knick of all time. I did want to mention something that we kind of forgot. Game 4, the OG tip. Yep. Josh Hart. If he misses that layup, yo, it is problems for him, dog.
Yeah, nah. With the way Josh Hart hugged OG after the game, he hugged him like a man who said, "You just saved my ass." And he did.
Okay, so take a look at the screen. Who's on the screen?
Oh!
Yeah. So the reason why he's on the screen is because something that Josh Hart said in the celebration of the finals, when Lisa Salters was interviewing the team, Josh Hart said, "Forget them picks." Yeah. Now, that's all fine and dandy. Right. And 100% forget them picks.
Talk about recency bias.
Facts. No, I'm going to keep it a buck. I'm keeping it a buck. Since we've climbed over the hump, fuck them picks.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, fuck them picks.
And he did, listen, game 2, like, he had a couple of moments.
I got the numbers here. We're going to look at the numbers. But as an overall conversation, yes, fuck them picks. We got the chip. We don't got to bring it up anymore. But in the spirit of not being influenced under recency bias, if we're going to look at the starting 5, he's the fucking weakest link. Yeah. And to pull up the numbers, to prove my point, let's take a look at the numbers in this series for what he had. For game 1, 9 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 of 6 from the floor, 50%. He took no 3-pointers.
In game 3, he just went missing.
Game 3, he had 2 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. He was 1 of 5 from the floor. He took 3 3-point shots. He made none of them. We skipped game 2, so going back to game 2, he had a better outing. 20 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 8 of 13 from the floor, 61.5%. 4 of 6 from 3-point line, 66.7%. Game 4, 7 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 of 9, 33%, and 1 of 3 from 3-point line, 33.3%. In the series clincher, game 5 in San Antonio, 14 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 of 10 from the floor, 50%.
He was solid.
3 of 7, 43%. Now, for the series overall, his averages, we're looking at 10 points, 3 rebounds, 3.5 assists. We're looking at 4 field goals made on 8.5 field goals attempted, which is 46.5%. 1.6 3-pointers made on 3.8 3-points attempted, which is 42%. Yeah. Now, again, going back to the picks. The reason why it's such a big conversation is because we did not give up that fucking farm of assets, players, and picks for this.
Yeah. Agreed. That still stands.
It just gets me irritated that, like, we're so wrapped up in recency bias. Mm-hmm. We need to keep it a stack, bro. Yeah. If we're going to repeat, we can't have this. Yeah. And throughout the whole season, Mikal Bridges was up and down. And as much credit as we're giving Mike Brown for unlocking Cat and unlocking the offense, Mikal Bridges is still something that we can improve upon. Because when Mikal Bridges is having a visceral effect and a visceral impact on the team, he's slashing, he's creating plays, he's so much a part of the offense. And for much of the season, and as the numbers that I just pointed out, he wasn't there, bro.
Yeah.
Mike Brown needs to find out how to make him an essential part and not just someone in the corner waiting for a shot or waiting for Jalen Brunson to run over and have a DHO. Mikal Bridges needs to be a part of the offense. I'm back and forth because we got a chip, but I just wanted to bring that up. So I should have mentioned this while we were talking about Brunson and all the numbers. But one of the big things that around the Talking Head shows, one thing that they're highlighting is the pay cut that he took in order to build a roster around him, getting Mikal, getting Josh Hart and everything. So he agreed to a 4-year, $156.6 million extension back in 24, which is $113 million less than eligible. And it's going to be interesting moving forward to see how all these GMs move, because that's going to be a really big talking point regarding like, oh, you want to win, you got to take a sacrifice like Jalen Brunson. It worked for Jalen Brunson because he had a really good relationship with Leon Rose and Worldwide West. So it's just going to be interesting to see people moving forward. Yeah, very unique. Talking about money, I did mention it a little bit earlier. I kind of wanted to shift focus a little bit towards how we're going to look like next year.
Yeah.
Because we haven't won a championship in 53 years, but of course we got to look about next year.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's there.
The reality of it.
It's there though.
Yeah.
The opportunity is there. But the biggest question that we have right now, well, as far as look at the free agents that we have. So Jose Alvarado right now is a player option. Mitchell Robinson is unrestricted. Jordan Clarkson is unrestricted. Shamit is unrestricted.
Mitchell Robinson, I hope he stays in a Knicks uniform. If he goes to the Lakers, if he goes anywhere, I'll be tight. But if he ends up somewhere within direct competition,
Eastern Conference.
Eastern Conference, some of the more notable teams, because I think teams like Detroit could use a Mitchell Robinson. Teams like maybe even Boston could use a Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah, but the thing is that I feel like these teams, they're gonna be looking for Mitchell Robinson to be their starting center, and I don't think that's him anymore. He's too injury prone, and that's where all these teams are gonna mess up. Again, of course, get your money. He won a chip, so now he's gonna have a little bit even more motivation to probably leave and get his money. I get it, and I respect it. But these teams are gonna be vying for him. They're gonna be looking to sign him as a starting center, and I don't think that's where he thrives. Where he thrives is where he was, a backup center where he didn't have all the responsibility. He was a defensive anchor, but he was a defensive anchor in spurts. If the Lakers go and sign Mitchell Robinson, he's going to be the starting center. He's going to be the anchor to the defense for all the minutes that he's going to play. And
it's a hit toward, like,
100%.
You're 100% right that they would sign him to be their starting center. But nonetheless, we still, suffer a major hit to our depth of our team.
True. Where I was going to go with this is Cat.
Yeah.
I mentioned this earlier, but now he is he's eligible to sign a max extension, which is 4 years and $272 million. The reason why I bring this up is because throughout the duration of the season, everybody was talking about the rumor that Giannis is going to come to the Knicks, depending on how the Knicks fare out in this playoff run. So now that it is no more. 100% is no more.
Thank God.
But from what I'm seeing in all these other YouTube shows and ESPN shows, people are still saying that the Knicks should try and make the move for Giannis. Right. I 100% agree with that. But, dog, look at the money. 4 years, 272 for Cat.
But then you get into the conversation of, does that seem excessive?
68 a year.
Yeah, and does that seem excessive for someone who is, seemingly as inconsistent as Cat has been? Yes, but at the same time, do you take the gamble of just letting him go?
No, I'm running it back. I just don't. That number is killing me, bro.
Because my gut instinct is they're gonna give him the money. They're gonna give him the
and they kind of have to.
And I feel like they have to.
They have to. It's just like, fuck, bro. What are you more confident in? Are you more confident that we're gonna be able to run it back and Cat is gonna have even a better run in the playoffs / finals than he did this year?
I'm gonna go back to the point that I brought up a little while ago. I'm curious to see how they run the offense next year, given the adjustments that they made in this year's playoffs. it seems like maybe Mike Brown has found a way, or him and Mike Brown have worked on their dynamic, and they found a way to more effectively utilize Cat. With that said, we still see that the inconsistency lives. You look at the final stats, where he puts up fucking that atrocious Game 5, and he fouls out. So
I'm not doing the move for Giannis. Even no absolutely not. It makes no sense. And oh my God, what irritated me so much is because a couple days ago, Skip Bayless on Gilbert Arenas show, they were talking about this, Cat and Giannis. And Skip literally, he shouts out the question. He's like, let's put it in a vacuum. Who's a better player, Giannis or Cat? And then Brandon Jennings, Skip Bayless, Nick Young, Kenyon Martin, Rashard McCants, they all unilaterally said Giannis.
Yeah.
And I'm screaming at the TV. I'm like, how is Giannis a better player than Cat, bro? Let's break him down to the most simplest form. Give me the skills that Giannis possesses. I'm a fucking broken record, but I'm a broken record. I've said this in so many episodes. Let's put it in a vacuum. Talk about the skills that Giannis possesses. Ball handling? No. Jump shooting? No. Footwork? No. Post up? No. 4 things off the top of my head. The only thing that Giannis has is just his tenacity and his ferocity. That's not necessarily a skill. This is something that you have or you don't. Yeah. Now let's focus on Cat. Is he able to put the ball on the floor? Yes, we saw that with Wemby. Yep. He's literally statistically the best big man shooting 3 in NBA history. So he's able to shoot. Does he have a post-up game? Yes. And I was thinking about this the other day. If we look at his career in Kentucky when he was with John Calipari, how did John Calipari use him? He was primarily in the post. We didn't know that he was able to shoot the ball not until he came into the NBA. So he does have that back to the basket type of game. Shooting, I said. Post-up game, I said. Ball handling, I said. So when you put it in a vacuum, I still don't understand why people are saying that Giannis should be taken over Cat. Giannis is, I believe, 31, and he's at the back half of his prime. He's dealing with injuries, and Giannis only knows how to play one way, bro. Yeah. He's not going to change the way he plays. He's not going to develop a consistent jump shot at this point of his career. So.
Yeah, no, dead. He could go to Miami.
Yeah, that's the big rumor is between Miami and it's between Boston right now, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But, again, like I said in the beginning of this pod, I'm sorry because I'm kind of all over the place, but I kind of want to bring it back to Brunson. Yeah. I want to bring it back to Brunson because we looked at the numbers. We talked about the impact that he had in the playoffs/finals run. But I want to throw out the question to you. Is he a top 5 player? Let me tell you this. So the general consensus, top 5 players. Let me throw them at you. In no particular order. Jokic. SGA. Giannis. Luka. That's 4. The 5th, I feel like a healthy Tatum. I feel like Tatum is that 5th spot. Or you could throw in Anthony Edwards. So that 5th spot, I think it's up for grabs, but I think it's between Tatum and Anthony Edwards. Now that's a consensus top 5. To that, do you have any thoughts? Does Jalen Brunson bump anybody out of that list that I just mentioned?
I'm trying not to be subjective here. I'm trying to be completely objective.
Let's take into account the skills that they bring to the table. Let's take into account the accolades that they've been able to collect. The playoff runs.
Listen, Jokic, fine. SGA, fine. I'm struggling with Giannis and Luka. I'm struggling with them two specifically.
Me too.
I don't know. No, I can't say I don't know, especially when it comes to Luka and scoring, but I struggle with them two being up there and Brunson, not being there. I don't know. So I can't say for sure that Brunson definitely takes a spot, but I mean, you just laid out the argument against Giannis, and it's a very sound argument.
I have an argument against Luka, but I'll let you cook. Go ahead.
But Luka is fucking the most one-sided player I've ever watched.
Absolutely.
And seeing with Brunson, you could say, okay, he's not great defensively, but he makes strides, and you saw it throughout the playoffs to improve defensively. There were a couple of flashes of, okay, I see some improvement in Brunson's defense. Luka, he's completely one-sided. I think of him and Harden in kind of the same box in that matter. So that's where I'm struggling the most. It's not even It's not even with that fifth spot, you know, AE and Jason Tatum. It's them two specifically. I want to say if that's the consensus list, Brunson should be in there too.
I got Giannis and Luka. Get them the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So they're out.
Yeah.
I just made a 3-minute spiel as to why I think Giannis is not a better player than Kat, and all those points that I made can also be attributed to why I think he's not a top 5 player. Now, focusing on Luka. Luka's style of play, it doesn't have the same impact as what Jalen Brunson's style of play. Luka with his 20 dribbles into a between the legs step back 3 is so selfish and is so like, okay, cool, you led the league in points. Great. What did that get you?
Right.
What has it gotten?
You couldn't put the team on your back when it mattered the most.
The only time he made the NBA Finals, he won Game 7 against the Phoenix Suns in the Western Conference Finals. Yeah. And a lot of the reason I feel like you can put that on the Phoenix Suns, because if you remember, DeAndre Ayton was the starting center at that time, and there was a lot of reports that him and Monty Williams were not getting along during that series in particular. Something I think happened on the locker room, things were sad, and it just completely switched up the energy. And the Phoenix, to me personally, that game, I think Phoenix Suns lost it more than the Dallas Mavericks won it. Now, of course, Luka he won the game. You can only play what's in front of you. I get that. So cool, you made it to the NBA Finals. What happened in the NBA Finals? You lost. And the numbers that you put up in the NBA Finals, they weren't, to a lot of people's satisfactory. Maybe I'll pull them up later if I remember. But Luka's style of play, it's very, like, it's just shiny, but there's no substance to it. It's always about a step back 3. It's always just like, but it doesn't get you anywhere. Jalen Brunson literally just proved that as being the best player on the team, as being the person who's going to close out a series, put the team on his back, and having to put the ball in the bucket because he has to, not because it's really just all about him. There's a difference in the quality of play that there is between the two players. So that's why I have Luka. Get him the fuck out of here. I never liked him. And the more and more his career goes along, the more and more I'm convinced that he's just not going to win, bro. But whatever. So now, my particular 5 that I have, since Giannis and Luka are bumped out, my number 1 is still Jokic. And that's, for me, that's definitive. That's definitive.
Yeah.
I'm not going to change about that. After Jokic, it's kind of in no order. But I have SGA, I have Brunson, I have Anthony Edwards, and I have Tatum. Tatum, when he's healthy, yeah, he's a beast, he's a monster. But to go even further than that, I have SGA, if I'm going to put it in particular order, I have SGA after Jokic. So I have SGA as number 2. Now that third spot to me is where Brunson is tied for being the best player in the league between him
and Tatum
and Anthony Edwards.
Okay.
I guess if you want to put Tatum there, I can see it because he went to the finals.
Yeah.
Cool, he has a chip, but he doesn't have a finals MVP. So there's that.
Yeah.
But and Anthony Edwards, he hasn't really had any substantial accolades as of yet. He only has All-Stars. He doesn't have Western Conference MVP, Finals MVP, NBA Cup, whatever. If you want to mention that, you probably don't. But Brunson, dog, he has these accolades that it's a wrap.
Yeah.
If he's not top 3, top 2, he's 100% top 5, and there should be no debate about it.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's very hard to say for people because they just won a championship. Luka has been in the spotlight in the NBA since he came into the NBA. Giannis has been in the spotlight since he especially won that championship. And I feel like it's very hard for people to it's just hard to face the facts that Giannis and Luka, like, I don't think they're going to win anymore, bro.
And that list, I don't know. I think that list is going to change even more after next year, but we'll see. But
you think it Wemby? Anyone in particular, or are you just talking in general?
No. I next year is going to tell a lot about the trajectory of where Wemby goes.
Absolutely.
Next year is going to say a lot. And even though he's a bitch after his play and his antics in this series, in my heart of hearts, I believe he's one of those ones, and I think he's going to come back with a vengeance next year. I do. Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper, Wemby. That could be your young core, but yeah, and Dylan Harper. I mean, listen, this goes back. You know, he's the most dangerous. Thank you, Mitch Johnson, for taking him out of the game. Like because Mitch Johnson was fucking that all the way up. Like and I saw after the fact it came out that he was a little upset about how he was utilized, and understandably so. Because when that motherfucker came in and he was driving to the basket, he was a fucking problem. I couldn't understand why they were using him so sparingly, but I wasn't gonna fucking argue with it.
Yeah, no, Mitch Johnson definitely did us a favor. Yo, that's it. So the Spurs, man. Oh, let's talk about the other side of the loser bracket. But yo, I was talking about this with my friend, and to me personally, I think Wemby and Dylan Harper. I think those are the only two untouchables on the Spurs. Stephon Castle, I can see the argument, but for me personally, I still think he has a little bit more to develop in his game, and I need to see it when the lights are on at the brightest. Next year, if he comes back with a consistent jumper, cool, you added something to your game, but I need to see it when it counts in the playoffs or if you make another finals run. Dylan Harper, as a rookie, showed no fear.
You would have thought he'd been there.
I'm talking about step back threes. I'm talking about breaking someone's ankles.
Yeah.
I'm talking about going to the cup. I'm talking about getting the ball and running the offense. Now it's his first year, so of course he's gonna have mistakes, but he's a rookie. So as far as what I've seen, I'm a really big skill guy. I want to see what you can bring to the table. So what I saw with my own two eyes, Dylan Harper is what he's able to bring to the table is more than what I've seen from Stephon Castle. So that's why I'm saying
I agree with that.
That's why I'm saying Dylan Harper and Wemby are the only untouchables. Stephon Castle can play his way into that, but as of right now, I don't see it. But Dylan Harper, as a rookie in his finals, I have the numbers right here. Averages for the series: 18 points, 6.5 rebounds, 3 assists, 7 field goals made on 14 field goals attempted, which is 49%. He took 5 3-pointers and he made 1.5 of them for the series, 28%. It's just the way that he played. And the San Antonio Spurs, from all the talking head shows that I've seen, they have a really big problem with De'Aaron Fox because the contract that he signed.
Yes, I saw that.
Everybody is saying that they need to give the keys to Dylan Harper, and I'm not opposed to it. But the thing is that like, why did you bring De'Aaron Fox here? If you do that, then why did you bring him here?
But, well, in all fairness, Dylan Harper's a rookie. I mean, with De'Aaron Fox, I don't think you could have predicted that Dylan Harper was going to come out this strong this soon, which is why you get De'Aaron Fox, who he's even showed promise throughout this season, but when the lights shine brightest, he fucking fell the fuck apart, and Dylan rose to the occasion. So now you have an issue on your fucking hands where you're going to be put in a position where the contract is something crazy, right? It goes like 50, something that it's going to be hard to just fucking ship him off somewhere.
The Spurs, man, they're gonna have to make a big decision because De'Aaron Fox, he just shit the bed, bro.
Yeah. And
what I wanted to say about De'Aaron Fox, so the big talk around De'Aaron Fox's name was when he came to the Spurs, everybody was saying like he's gonna provide that leadership. He's gonna provide that experience. Yeah. But the thing is, he only went to one playoff series with his tenure with the Kings.
Right.
And he lost in the first round in 7 games to the Warriors. And Steph dropped that incredible 50-point Game 7 series clincher against the Kings. But, like, the Spurs in general, they didn't really have... The only experience they had Harrison Barnes. But by the time the finals came around...
He wasn't used at all.
Exactly. He was out of the rotation. He has a ring with the Warriors, but he was out of rotation. Luke Cornett, he had a ring with the Boston Celtics, and he was in the rotation, but you're not going to rely on him.
He also didn't play very good
in the final series. Yeah, he didn't. But you're not going to rely on him. Yeah. A lot of like the core of the San Antonio Spurs, they just didn't have experience, bro. Yeah. Like you're relying on literally Dylan Harper, who's a first-year player. You're relying on Wemby, where it's his first time making the playoffs, and it's his first run deep into the playoffs. Yeah. Devin Vassell, Champagne. Stephon Castle, like all these players collectively, they didn't have enough experience to go through the trials and tribulations of what the finals specifically, of what the finals entails.
Right.
And they had in all those games they had leads.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until later in the game, second half, third, fourth quarter, where they gave it up and the Knicks took over. Okay, for the series against the Knicks, he averaged 12.8, 13 points, 3 rebounds. What is that, 6 assists? He averaged 34% from the floor. He averaged 25% from three-point line. And then if we're going to break it down individually, the first game he had 7 points. He had 7 and 4. What did he shoot from the floor? He shot 23% from the floor. He took 4 threes and he missed all 4. Game 2, which is his best game of the series, but they still lost. 20 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. He shot 66 from the floor, 66% from the floor. He took 2 threes and he made both. Game 3, he had 12 and 3 with 8 assists. He shot 28% from the floor. He took 5 3-pointers and he missed all 5. Game 4, he had 18 and 5. 37.5 on the floor, 9 3-points attempted. The last game, yikes, 7 points, no rebounds, 5 assists, 20% from the floor, 15 shots.
And the thing is, these stats don't take into account just the stupid decisions he was making. I mean, even
Are you talking about game 4 when he went up for the layup?
that, but I mean, that's the most notable.
But what's that? I get it. Like, everyone is saying that he should have pulled out, but like, honestly, if I was in his position, I would have went for the layup too.
Yeah, I've heard that take. But going back to the point of this guy is supposed to be one of the leaders on your team, you're expecting a little more poise, a little more foresight than that.
I mean, we also should mention that he was dealing with an ankle injury for most of the playoffs.
Yeah.
It was definitely evident in the finals. Like he just wasn't his old athletic self. But yeah, in particular, that play in Game 4 when he went up for the layup, the only, I guess what you can say is that like he should have went up a little bit more aggressive because it looked like he was just waiting for the contact with OG, and then OG made that amazing play with the block. Yeah, I mean, it's just hard, bro. De'Aaron Fox is gonna have a tough summer because the money that the Spurs are gonna be paying him, with the way he showed up, with Dylan Harper on your neck, like. I'm like, all these talking head shows, they're talking about moving him. I'm like, definitely don't move him. But there might be an adjustment that you might have to make to the starting 5. I think instead of bringing Dylan Harper off the bench, I think you find a way to put him in the starting 5. And you might take out, I think Vassell is in the starting 5.
Yeah. So
you might move Vassell to the bench and you still have De'Aaron Fox running the point, but you have Dylan Harper a little bit more of a shooting guard.
That would make sense.
There's stuff that you can make.
And let's not get it confused. Like De'Aaron Fox is a good point guard. He had a shit series in the finals. It doesn't make him completely irredeemable here. Like there's still, we'll see how he shows up. I'm sure with this team that they'll be back in contention next year. I don't necessarily know that they'll make go to the finals, but he'll have a chance to redeem himself to a degree. He's still a good point guard. So I think the plan that you just suggested in terms of have him running point and putting Dylan Harper in the starting lineup as a 2 guard, it's not bad.
Yeah, no.
You need Dylan Harper though. Like you need that guy is the fucking.
Everybody. What I hate also is that as soon as the finals ended, everybody was saying like the Spurs are gonna be in contention for the next 10 years. I'm like, okay, 10 years is definitely a little bit too much.
Yeah.
And with the way that the NBA has been going for the last 8 years, where there's been a different champion every year, I definitely within the next 3 to 5 years, I think the Spurs are gonna be, and especially if Wemby's healthy, for the next 3 to 5 seasons, the Spurs should be in contention for coming out of the West, no question.
Yeah.
But like everybody's saying, like 8 to 10 years. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, no, and it's impossible to have that type of foresight. Like
look at what we said about each team after they won the championship.
Yeah.
When Jokic won the championship at 23, oh my God, this guy! Look at the dynasty that the Denver Nuggets are gonna build. They didn't win next year. The Boston Celtics, oh my God, look at the Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They didn't win next year.
Yeah.
Last year with OKC Thunder. The same exact thing. Oh my God, dynasty, Jalen Williams, all those draft picks. Look what happened. Now, granted, this year with the Thunder was a little bit more injury prone.
Yeah, I don't think OKC's done.
No, 100% not.
OKC's done. I even think that the Celtics maybe even got, I won't say an unfair shake, but they got hit with injuries at really bad times too. Which is part of it because it's an endurance test as much as it's anything else. But yeah, unfortunately for us as Knicks fans, the Celtics are still in a conversation.
Yeah. Before we wrap up talking about the San Antonio Spurs, you made your opinion on Wemby pretty clear in this podcast.
Yeah.
I did want to talk to you about how you feel. One of the big talking points is the whole Wemby not shaking the Knicks' hand when they lost.
Yeah.
Do you care? I honestly don't give a fuck that he didn't shake our hand.
So, if that was an isolated incident, no, because there's other instances that you could point to of other great players who did the same thing.
Right.
But it's that coupled with the fact that you could see in press game conferences, fucking the pressers, whatever,
Post games,
that he does not respect his team. He had, him saying, we dominated most of the series, giving no credit, and this is also, even I saw a little bit of it with, Mitch Johnson. They just kind of slighted the Knicks, and I didn't appreciate that. I didn't like the dirty shit that Wemby was doing. I understand that this is what they do in Europe. I wasn't fucking with that. You spoke about how Brunson came down and kind of rolled his ankle. You also see in that video, it seems like a very intentional placement by Wemby as he's looking down at his foot to put, and then the OG play where he's jumping at, like, there's just shit that is I was thoroughly rooting for him throughout the playoffs, and this final series, it was like a heel turn, to use wrestling terms, even though I don't watch that shit, but it's a heel turn. Like, he didn't show his best self, and I mean, granted, he's 22 years old with the NBA in his back pocket, so he's got some learning to do.
Yeah,
but,
bro.
Yeah.
He's very, very young. Again, 22. The only players in my lifetime that I've seen make it this far in the playoffs is Wemby and LeBron James. LeBron James at 22 took that Cavs team in 2007 to the finals where they got absolutely mollywalked.
Yeah.
Now Victor Wembanyama lost in 5, but there's something to be said about how young when you're that young, and Wemby's first fucking playoff appearance. LeBron at that point, I think it was his third playoff appearance at that point. No, I'm bugging. It might have been his second. I think it might have been LeBron's second playoff appearance where he brought the Cavs to the finals. But I get what you're saying as far as the dirty plays, the whole mushing Brunson, that was definitely uncalled for. Brunson definitely should have ran through his chest. But as far as like him not shaking hands with the Knicks, like, I don't give a fuck, bro. Like, yo, he just lost in the finals, bro. If I was him, I don't want to fucking shake your hand, bro. You just beat my ass, something that I want. And again, what we always talk about, we always say how Wemby is a different type of player. He doesn't give you these PR answers when he's doing these interviews or these post-game interviews. He tells you what's on his mind. He tells you what he's literally feeling at the moment. So, like, I don't care, bro. Like, you took something away from me that I wanted, and he made it very clear that he wants a championship. He wants the Finals MVP. He especially wants the regular season MVP. So, like, if I was him, bro, I probably would have walked off as well. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, the walk-off is one thing, but the Knicks actively handed you your ass. Like,
facts.
You should acknowledge that.
It's gonna be,
and him saying, what could he learn from this series?
Yeah, he said this is a learning experience, and then he said, I don't know exactly what the lesson is, but this is a learning experience for my life. Yeah, with a couple of days of separation, he's gonna realize that he messed up. He didn't put his best foot forward for the entire series. It was in spurts throughout the series.
Yeah.
And he's probably gonna learn about his conditioning. He's probably gonna learn about the way he uses his energy throughout the game. There's a lot of things that I've seen in this game where it's like, duh, you're 22. Yeah. He still needs to learn what his spots are on the floor.
Yeah.
Once he learns that, now he needs to learn how to get to his spots on the floor. He needs to also adapt his body to playing more than, because in the regular season, I think he averaged like only 28 minutes.
Yeah.
And then once the playoffs started,
had the restrictions on.
Yeah. And then once the playoffs started, it was like fucking 40 minutes and above. So he has to adapt his body to that. There's a lot of shit where it's like, oh, he's 22. Like, he doesn't know all this shit. But once he figures it out,
I know. I was saying that. I can acknowledge the fact that I'm glad that we
got it now
from 2 years from now. So
yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how we fare next year. But still, last bit about Wemby. I was watching ESPN today, and I think Brian Windhorst said he gave a breakdown of like the last, I guess, maybe 10 years of just Wemby's outings in like important tournaments.
Yeah.
So he said in the U18 or U19 against the USA, he came in second place. France lost to USA. And Chet won the Finals MVP, which is probably why Wemby fucking hates Chet.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one. When he played professionally in France and professionally, he lost in the finals, so he was a second place team. 2 summers ago in the Paris Olympics, they lost in the finals, second place team. This year in the NBA Finals, they lost in the finals. He's a second place team. He didn't win that finals. He didn't win the regular season MVP, which is what he wanted. So like, I'm just looking at these things, and I'm like, he has a lot to take from. He has this tournament. He has that tournament. He has this tournament. And he, like I said earlier, he's somebody that he tells you how he feels and what his emotions are and what his thoughts are. And I just feel like when he appropriately takes all of these things into account and he's able to motivate himself and he's able to learn how to use that motivation even better than he has, I think it's going to be a fucking problem, dog. Yeah. And yeah, the Knicks getting a chip now is, yeah, we needed to win this. Oh, did you see
a lot of second places?
It is a lot of second places.
Win something, bitch.
Did you see the fucking James Dolan fucking speech that he had?
Yeah, but there was a lot to unpack there.
It was interesting. I finally saw it in its entirety before coming here.
James Dolan will always have a negative connotation in my mind. I still think that
absolutely
the decisions he's made to bring on Leon and Wes obviously changed the dynamic of the team. But I did appreciate him acknowledging, hey, New York, I'm sorry it took this long.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was like, okay, you have some semblance of awareness here that, you've put us through fucking hell with Phil Jackson as whatever.
It was interesting, though, because when I was watching that, like you just said, we have a certain connotation with James Dolan as Knicks fans. He literally, after the finals appearance against the Spurs in '99, it was complete basketball purgatory. Yeah. Up until, if you want to make the argument, when Melo got here, in my personal opinion, it was basketball purgatory until Brunson got here. So that's how long it's been.
That's what I say too.
All right, Ben. Thank you. We're on the same page. Because Melo, you didn't do fucking shit, bro.
Yeah, because Melo, it wasn't even in the team. Not to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Just the teams that Melo was on, they might sneak into the playoffs, but you knew that they weren't about to do shit.
Yeah, but Melo should have been better, bro. Like 50% is his fault and 50% is Phil Jackson's fault. I understand that. They traded away all your players literally the year after we lost to Indiana in the second round. We got rid of JR, we got rid of Shump. I get it. So you didn't have the players around him. Okay, cool. But before that happened, we did make the playoffs. It was 1 year it was against Boston. 1 year it was against Miami. And it was first round exits.
Right.
Like Melo didn't.
That's what I mean.
Melo didn't. One thing I hate about players. Why don't you add stuff to your game? Melo was such a great offensive player. I'm gonna give you that, but you need add more stuff to your game, bro. You can't be so one-dimensional. So that's why I have this fucking hatred toward Melo, because you could have done so much better with your Knicks career. But whatever. What I was gonna go to was James Dolan. There's a connotation about James Dolan since the '99 Finals appearance against the Spurs up until Brunson got here. We've been in basketball purgatory. So it was very interesting to see him have that meeting prior to the playoff starting, because the energy is basically like, yo, we're winning this or this is a wrap. Yeah. Like that was literally the message that he was giving.
We all had too, right?
And that kind of goes, and this is something I should have mentioned at the beginning of the pod, talking about Mike Brown. The pressure that he had, Dolan had that interview in January where he had something on the radio and he said that he thinks that we should go to the finals. He thinks that we should win the championship. So the pressure that Mike Brown had, knowing that if they lost to Atlanta, especially in the first round, or if they didn't win the championship, like everybody, there was going to be a reconstruction of the whole team. Yep. Mike Brown was going to be let go. Cat was definitely going to be traded. But that meeting was very interesting because, dog, we don't really see Dolan in the press. He doesn't give interviews.
The first time I saw him give a full-on interview was actually on that Roommates podcast with Jalen and Josh.
That was last year, I think?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even see that episode. But I know what you're talking about. Yeah. So it's like Dolan doesn't really even make his way to the press. Same thing for Leon Rose. He doesn't make himself available for the press. So just that energy and intention of like, yo, we need to make this happen now, or if it's never gonna happen with this group. It was just so interesting to see that from an owner, and the shots that he was taking at Tibbs.
Yeah.
He was like, yo, that's so interesting, bro. That kind of goes to what you were talking about earlier about the coaching change.
Yeah. And
he basically said, it's like, we wanted a team that's not going to be dictated towards.
Yeah.
Like, we wanted a collaborative effort from everybody. It just kind of sucks because, like, what he's saying is facts, especially now that we won the chip. Yeah. And the way that Mike Brown did it, you know? Like, you can't really say anything towards that. Yeah, Tibbs fucked up.
That's what I mean. You can't... The sentiment that I had about keeping Tibbs is null and void after this year's playoffs. It's just not.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, I think Tibbs will get another coaching job, and it should be one of those teams that's like right on the cusp of making another leap. You know, like getting into the playoffs for the first time in however, or making some noise in the playoffs. But whatever. Okay, so, and whoever's watching this, first and foremost, shout out to you. Remember, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. I'll definitely engage. But definitely hit that subscribe button. But apologies, because I know we're all over the place. We're talking about James Dolan 1 second. We're talking about Cat, Brunson, Spurs. We're all over the place. So apologies. But now, moving forward, what I want to do with you, I kind of want to talk about just stuff that has happened in the playoffs that we haven't been able to talk about.
Yeah.
Just to get your thoughts, just to see where your mind goes. And the first thing that comes up to mind is the Boston Celtics. And more specifically, after the Celtics were eliminated, Jaylen Brown, he goes on Twitch, and he has his live stream, and he literally said that this was his favorite season that he's had as a Boston Celtic. And it made a lot of noise around the NBA because there's this kind of feeling that there's friction between you and Jason Tatum already. And if you're saying this is your favorite season, when Jason Tatum missed 80% of the season, where you didn't win a championship, it looked a little suspect.
And I can guarantee that was an intentional move.
Oh, you think he said that on purpose?
I think so.
Was it because why?
I think that the tension between him and Tatum has been there forever. And and then couple that with, he clearly likes the social media spotlight. He's going on, like to shit talk the Knicks, but he's present in that regard. He doesn't seem to shy away from the attention. So maybe there's a bit of attention whore in there too. But that issue, that internal issue with Tatum may have been coming to a head. And at this point, after being knocked out of the finals, maybe there's just this frustration and he needed to, outlet it somewhere. But I think that there was very much intent behind that statement. I don't think it was just like, yeah, this was my favorite season because it was my favorite season. No, I think that there was a level of intent there.
It's just interesting, bro, because you already know that the noise around you and Tatum, and you're going to say this when Tatum missed 80% of the season and you were the man on the team. If I was him, I wouldn't have said it, but whatever. This was supposed to be a gap year for the Celtics. Now, they ended up losing the first round, disappointingly, to the 76ers. They should have won that.
They should have.
But look at, he got the Boston Celtics to the second seed, where nobody thought it was
remarkable.
Where everybody thought there would be a play-in team at best this season. So, and then I think at some time during the season, or it might have been when he first started doing those Twitch streams after he got eliminated, he did say that he was gonna have Tatum on the show, but it still hasn't happened. Yeah. So there's just a lot of noise around it, and this just adds fuel to the fire. Sticking to that kind of Jaylen Brown statement that he made. So I listened to Bill Simmons. And on his podcast, I think about a week ago, he said that Boston made an offer for Giannis. He didn't say exactly what the offer was, and he's super connected. So Boston and Giannis, we talked about this. I've talked about this ad nauseum. I don't think Giannis, specifically as an individual player, I don't think he's as skilled. I don't think he should be talked about the way he does as far as being like a top 3 player. But sticking within the realm of just Giannis going to Boston, that changes up a lot with Boston. The amount of pieces that they're going to have to ship out for Giannis is going to definitely change the dynamic of the team. But just give me your overall thoughts in a vacuum with a team that's being led by Giannis and Tatum, because Jaylen Brown would be a part of that deal.
Transparently, I have no idea what it looks like because I don't know that Giannis can be the B man on a team where there's already the guy. So I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if that could potentially be.
You don't know if he'd willingly take a backseat.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're looking at similar chemistry issues to the ones you already have between Brown and Tatum. If Giannis, because you've never seen Giannis in that capacity. I mean, he might be great for all we know, but I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. And I don't know, aside from Jaylen Brown, which is like the obvious who would probably be shipped out and leveraged in that deal.
100%.
I'm curious to know what other pieces get shipped out, because I don't think it's just going to be Jaylen Brown. So
yeah,
it's hard to say what the team looks like, really.
Yeah, no, you definitely got to know what the ancillary pieces around Tatum and Giannis would look like. But if we're just focusing on Giannis himself and we're thinking about the way he plays, at this point of his career, he's not going to develop a consistent jump shot. He's not going to develop a consistent post-up game. He's not going to develop a ball handling ability. So he's primarily going to he should, because that'll probably save his body for some injuries.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's going to be willing to do that at this stage of his career. So, with the way that Giannis has already been shown to play in his career, downhill, put your head down, I'm going to demolish everybody in front of me.
Yeah.
So, if he's going to be playing like that, with Tatum on the wing, I don't know. I mean, you'd have to respect him, but honestly, I don't even think that moves the needle, bro. And also depending on what other signings they make on the margins.
Yeah.
Because they're going to have, if they get Giannis, they're going to have to develop that shooting. And they're going to give up Derek White, probably. They're going to give up Peyton Pritchard. They're going to give up a Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
So, Derek White and Pritchard, those are two shooters right there, gone. So, I'm just saying, it's not an easy thing just to get Giannis. It's not easy, bro.
What year is Giannis going into? Is it 11? Like,
this will be his 14th year.
Shit.
This will be his 14th year.
Man.
So, moving on from the whole Jaylen Brown / Boston / Giannis talk, this kind of goes, it's still within Giannis, but kind of wanted to talk about OKC and their outing in this playoffs. So specifically in the Western Conference Finals against Wemby.
Yeah.
And more specifically, Chet.
Shit the bed.
Yo, it was pretty bad, bro. Now the thing as to why it was so bad, like I don't want to say and be so basic and say that Wemby got in his head, but like. Wemby, when everybody's healthy, Jalen Williams is looked at as the second best player, and Chet is looked at as a third. So with Jalen Williams being out, there were points where Chet didn't even look at the rim, bro.
Yeah, no, he didn't even consider it.
So why didn't Chet step up to the plate and being like, oh, okay, Jalen is out, Shea needs somebody, let me be that second best player.
Let me nut up here.
So for the series, he averaged 10 points, 7 rebounds. He averaged, oh my god, bro. Just numbers that would be like for a second best player. It's just alarming. And then this is where the whole Giannis talk comes in, because after they lost to the Spurs in 7, everybody was fixated on Chet, and then a bunch of talking heads were talking about the idea of OKC going in on Giannis.
Yeah.
Chet would be a part of that, and the reason why is because Chet, it seems like going up against Giannis, he doesn't come up best when the lights are bright. So the thing is with the OKC, they have the players and they have the draft picks, and specifically in this draft, they have the 12th and 17th pick. If they were going to go for Giannis, what do you think? Just give me your overall thoughts about that.
It's not going to happen. I don't think OKC is that short-sighted to deal Chet after this appearance, especially for Giannis, who has, you just mentioned going into his 14th year. I don't think they're going to disrupt the chemistry of the core that they have. So,
dude, this recency bias, bro. Is like we're such in a microwave culture. As soon as they lost, everybody was looking at how bad Chet played, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, Giannis!" And it's like, first of all, relax. Everybody, take it easy.
Right.
This is the 3rd year as far as OKC being contenders. The first year they lost in the semifinals to Dallas. Then they won the chip last year, and then they lost in the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
You know, looking at the numbers for the series individually, I mean, I have him up here. The first game, he had 8-8. That's abysmal. 28% from the field, 50% from three. The second game, he had 13-4. He was 5 of 10 from the floor. He was 0 of 2 from three-point line. Game 3, he had 14-3. He took 7 shots. He hit 5 of them, 71%. He took 2 3-pointers. He made 1, 50%. Game 4, 10-9. Game 5, 16-11. Game 6, 10-11. Game 7.
That's the one.
That is
Game
the one.
7 is the one.
Game 7, he had 4-4.
Yeah.
He took 2 shots. He made 1 of them. He took no 3-pointers.
I remember watching that game and being like, "What the fuck is happening?"
It's not a good look for Chet. It's definitely not a good look for Chet. But for all of a sudden jumping the gun and being like, "Go for Giannis,"
though, and that's
relax,
like
bro.
that. Like,
I was thinking about this earlier today. I was thinking about SGA, and it's definitely not a rivalry between him and Brunson or the Knicks and OKC Thunder because we just haven't met them in the postseason. But
and it would be very one-sided because last year OKC's had their way with the Knicks. But
why? Because
the Knicks have kind of not showed up against OKC.
You're talking about like regular season.
Yeah,
games? Okay.
Most recent.
Okay, but I was thinking about the individual conversation that we could have between SGA and Brunson.
I was gonna bring this up earlier.
Because when I step back and I think about it,
Those salsa dancers
with the footwork, the way they play, it's similar, but it's also different in some areas. They're both mid-range heavy, both footwork elite, both have Finals MVPs, both have rings. SGA has 2 regular season MVPs, so obviously you're gonna give them the nod on that. But I kind of want to talk about. I think those 2 specifically moving forward.
Yeah.
I think those 2 are going to be going back and forth in the conversation for best point guard in the league.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to we finally have someone to have in these conversations.
Right. Especially at point.
Especially at point.
Knicks point guard?
Yeah, the abysmal history
that
we've had. It's just though, I'm just like, Brunson has like, he's inserted himself into these conversations that's like, now that he has his ring and Finals MVP, it's like, oh shit, yeah, we could throw him in this conversation.
Yeah.
The best player in the league, the best point guard in the league, the best closer in the league,
right.
The best footwork in the league. Like we could throw him in these conversations because he's proved it. But and then you have, because OKC and the Spurs, they're gonna be rivals for the next 3 to 5 seasons. It's gonna be, for me personally, it's gonna be one of those 2 teams coming out of the West if Wemby's able to stay healthy.
Yeah.
For the next 3 to 5 seasons. Spurs had OKC's number the entire season this year.
We will give you credit because you were calling that from early.
Oh, yeah.
You were calling that from early.
I totally forgot that I didn't open up the pot with that. So, in our previous episode, link in the description below, we were going into the playoffs, and I said, this was after the game 1 or 2 against Portland, and I said, I think San Antonio was going to win the chip. And the reason why I said it was because of Wemby's just defensive effect. But what I didn't take into account, how the rest of his teammates were going to show up into the finals. Now, half of that was right. I did get them to get to the finals, but I didn't pick them to lose against especially the Knicks. But what I was going to talk about is OKC and the Spurs have this rivalry. The Spurs had the OKC Thunder's number all season long. And then when they get to the finals, the Knicks, Jalen Brunson is able to beat the team that had the Thunder's number. So it's like, it's kind of like is the enemy of your enemy your friend kind of thing.
Yeah. And
that's why I'm like, Jalen Brunson has this nod over SGA because Brunson did what SGA wasn't able to do this year. And dog, it's just a very interesting conversation between those 2 specifically.
Yeah, and that would have made it interesting for that as a matchup. And if like OKC would have taken that series and the matchup between SGA and Brunson, but also
definitely
they have similar experience in terms of the finals run You know, coaching may have been a little more evenly matched in that regard too. But
yeah. So again, the whole Chet and Giannis thing, everyone pumped the brakes. Also, something else that I found out during this playoff run, I forgot during what round, but the Cleveland Cavaliers, they actually declined a Giannis trade back in February. And it was a straight up Evan Mobley for Giannis trade. Seeing how the Cleveland Cavaliers fared out this playoffs, embarrassingly getting swept. Now, would you go back and...
I think it goes back to microwave culture. Do you give up the potential future of your franchise to, like, I think you try to move other pieces around before you...
Yeah, but low-key, Evan Mobley's been suspect, bro. Like, we thought he was going to be the future, and he hasn't really shown up. I was a big Evan Mobley fan, but now after seeing how they got mollywopped in this Eastern Conference Finals, and he lost in first round to the Knicks 2 seasons ago, whenever that was, 3 seasons ago, and he hasn't made that next leap. This season coming up is going to be his 6th season.
Okay.
So he just finished the 5th season.
Yes.
His numbers for the playoffs, I don't know, bro. If I was Cleveland,
I don't know that
I might give that more thought. If it's straight up, Evan Mobley for Giannis, and if the money works, I might do that. At the time, I understand why, because it was in February, and we want to see what this James Harden team could do. I understand that. But and now after everything we've seen, with the way the Cleveland Cavaliers showed up, with Kenny Atkinson he should have lost his job. Analytically, we won the game. Yeah. I don't know, bro. I don't know where they go from here. I think they said that they're gonna try and re-sign James Harden. We all know how that's gonna turn out. Donovan Mitchell he can't be the best player on your team. We know how that's gonna turn out. Yeah. Evan Mobley hasn't taken that leap in his career.
You know, the thing is, though, the Cavs organization probably sees this year as a success.
For the season, Evan Mobley averaged 18 points, 9 rebounds, 3.5 assists. He averaged 54% from the floor. He only took 3 3-pointers, and he averaged 30% from the floor. But dude, I don't know, man. I don't know if Evan Mobley's ever gonna make that shtick that everybody expected him to be in the NBA. He's not soft, but there's something that he's missing. And next year, going into year 7, what are you doing if you're Cleveland? You're running the same team back? James Harden, who's not going to show up. Donovan Mitchell, who can't be the best player in your team. First time you make it to the conference finals, congratulations, but you literally don't win 1 game.
Yeah.
Evan Mobley, what are you doing? So that's why I would understand if they made the move. And thank God I'm not a Cleveland Cavalier fan. One of the last things I want to talk about, I kind of want to talk about the fucking grandfather of the league who is still fucking playing at amazing pace, LeBron James. Yeah. Did you see this Time 100 article that came out about a week ago? I think he was the most influential athlete in the last, century it was? Something like that. But in the article, again, LeBron talks about him being the GOAT, which is, I don't mind it. But I see what everybody else is saying. Everybody else is saying that, why is LeBron talking about the GOAT so much? Jordan didn't talk about the GOAT. Magic didn't talk about being the GOAT. Larry Bird, Kobe Bryant. It's just something that's interesting with LeBron. He's willingly talking about it.
They didn't come up in the same culture though either. In all fairness,
that's true.
This is GOAT culture going back to even social media. That's a conversation that gets started. Where it's always a thing of who's the best player in the league, but LeBron is.
But LeBron is always throwing his name in there. It's why are you we know you are. Yeah. You don't. I just don't like the way he's forcing it.
Yeah. He doesn't need to do that.
He doesn't need to do that, bro. You're automatically top 2, maybe top 3, but you're top 2 in the league of all time. You don't need to keep finding ways to get these conversations about you being the GOAT. It's let it go, bro. And I guess piggybacking off that is his whole situation right now going into the offseason. So he's a free agent, and we were talking about this a little bit earlier. It's been reported, I don't know if maybe not reported, but it's been said that he's going to ask for the max that he's eligible for, which I think is $50 million. And that's going to put him in a bad spot. And at this point of his career, what does he do? He's LeBron James. He's the reason why the NBA is the NBA the past 20 years. He's been the face of the league, different iterations of it. At one point it was him. At one point it was him and Kobe. At one point it was him and Steph. At one point it was him, Steph, and KD. But the common denominator is LeBron James was in that conversation. Yeah. So if he wants his money, I totally get it. You understand? I totally understand it. You deserve it. You're worthy of it. But at the same time, if you do ask for that money, you're not going to be in a winning situation with the Lakers. And on top of that, it's been reported that Austin Reeves is going to ask for the max, which I think is 252 or 242. So it's just very interesting to see what LeBron James is going to do. And if he goes to a different team, he's going to have to take a really big pay cut. But then the conversation goes into, does he want to win?
Yeah.
Because if he wants to end his career, which it might next season might be his last season, and if he wants to go out on top, he's going to have to go to a Cleveland. He's going to have to go to a. I thought the Knicks would have been a really good situation if we didn't win this year. So that's out of the question. But the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Warriors. I just saw Gil's Arena earlier today. They talked about LeBron maybe going to the Spurs. Like there's a lot of different. There's a lot of different situations where LeBron can end up on these teams for on his way out being in a winning situation.
LeBron has been just a fucking walking roller coaster of a career, you know, going back to when he signed with Miami. So I give him credit in that you can't always tell what his next move is going to be. I think something you touched on there is like, it kind of depends what he wants out of this, what could be his potential last year. Does he want the novelty? Does he want to win? Does he kind of just, want to stay in LA because he's sunsetting into a more business-oriented career? Who the hell knows what LeBron wants to do? But
yeah,
there's something about him going to the Golden State Warriors that stands out to me.
Yeah, they're not gonna do shit though.
They're not. No, and that's what I mean about the novelty of it. Are you going for like the novelty? Oh, he played, with the Warriors with Steph Curry after these years of battle. Like, are you going for that? Are you going, maybe even back to Cleveland? I won't say as a contender, but probably going to be in a playoff position. I don't know.
If he goes to Cleveland and he signs, and if he takes a really big pay cut, and he's on a team with James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, you don't think they're contenders?
No.
Ooh, I don't know about that. No. LeBron changes so much of that team. He's gonna show James Harden how to win because he's never won in his life because he's a fucking loser. He's gonna show Donovan Mitchell how to win. He's gonna show Evan Mobley how to win. I think it makes a difference.
Where's the depth?
Yeah, the depth is always a question.
I don't think he's getting through to James Harden. I don't think that he. I think he could be of great assistance to a guy like Donovan Mitchell, sure, even an Evan Mobley. I don't know about James Harden, and I don't.
What do you mean by you don't think he'll get through to him? You don't think he'll change his ways, like
No.
to know how to play in the playoffs, basically?
No, it can't. It almost seems like there's just a permanent mental block.
But the thing was LeBron, bro. LeBron is such a winning player, dog.
He is.
Like he changes every 80 bit of your team, not just how you play, and winning plays, and how to approach the game. Like those little intangible things, LeBron changes, bro.
I mean,
so that's what I'm saying. Like if he goes to the Cleveland Cavaliers, James Harden is not gonna have as much pressure as he has. Donovan Mitchell's not gonna have as much pressure because LeBron's gonna come in here and he's just gonna show them how to do it. I don't think they'll. I definitely don't think they'll win it.
I don't think they're contenders though. I don't think that move makes them better than no bias. That move does not make them better than the Knicks. I mean, and we're talking about as their roster stand currently, not with any potential moves.
Right, just the current roster with
the current roster, but also the current roster of the other teams doesn't make them better than the Knicks. Doesn't make them better than the Celtics.
It's LeBron, bro.
Doesn't make them better. Listen, I respect LeBron. I respect his conditioning. I respect his jacket. It's LeBron in year 22. 22?
I think it's going to be...
23.
It's going to be 22 or 23 next season.
It's more of a leadership capacity.
Dog, he averaged 21 this year.
Yeah, no, and he's still solid. He's still more than serviceable. But once again, you're talking about that team. So you have Donovan Mitchell, you have Evan Mobley, you have Jared Allen, you have James Harden, and then what do you have? Because what shows in the playoffs, especially, I mean, I won't say this year, but once if you don't have the depth, what the fuck do you have? Unless, what I will say, and what LeBron has also been known to do, he knows how to utilize. He might see something in a guy coming off the bench for the Cavs that or suggest utilizing him in a way that gives him a whole new value. But as it currently stands, that move does not make them better than the top 3 teams in the East this past year.
You said New York, Boston, and
Detroit. I still don't think that would even be better than Detroit.
I don't think they'll make them better, but I think they would be. We would have to take them a lot more serious.
Maybe.
Than what we did this year, and I don't think it'll put them over the hump. But dude, it's just I keep saying it. LeBron's effect, what he's able to do on the intangible side, giving them confidence, making them better. One of LeBron's better attributes of his game is the way he's able to make his teammates better, making them play at a higher level.
Yeah, you see, it's on full display with LA,
and it's been on full display his whole career.
Yeah.
So with LeBron on that team, bro, I don't know, man. And LeBron, in my opinion, LeBron's still a top 10 player. He's more towards like the 7 through 10, but he's still a top 10 player in my eyes. The way he's able to affect the game with his dog, he's 42, 41. He averaged 21 this year.
Yeah, I mean that's incredible.
Yeah, I think we have to take them a lot more seriously if LeBron goes to that team. It changes every fucking intangible thing about that. To like the molecular level, how they think, how they approach, how they. I think we have to take them a lot more serious. Me personally, if he does leave the Lakers, I would only want to see him finish it off with Cleveland. It just makes sense, Go back home, go back to where it all started. The Warriors would be cool, but it's just like you guys are not gonna do anything. You're just going there just for the hype.
Yeah,
exactly.
Stuff. The novelty.
If we didn't win, bro, if we didn't win this year. And after I put some thought into it, I would have LeBron coming here.
Explain your logic, because I saw that circulating and I hated it. But you have like a seasoned perspective. You know your shit, so I have to hear it from you.
What?
Like why would that be something that you'd look to as a Knicks fan?
LeBron, it's difficult because even LeBron on his last year. He's going to average like 18 to 20. And again, like I just said about him going to the Cleveland Cavaliers, the intangibles that he brings to the table, making everybody better, showing them how to win, showing them how to extend your prime, how to keep it at excellence level, it goes far beyond just the court. And I've always thought that if you're one of the better players, you should want to come here and win. I don't care that it's the biggest market and there's more pressure. Like if you win here, it's gonna change everything about your legacy, about your name. We're gonna see that in the next coming years with this Knicks team. So LeBron coming here, it would just be perfect. He should have come, and he was going to come here when he left Cleveland to go to Miami, but we kind of botched that with Donnie Walsh and everybody.
Yeah.
But
at that time, different story.
With what?
If LeBron would have came here at that point.
Wow, what do you mean, Will?
Like, I would have been more in favor of it.
Because he was in his prime and all that stuff?
Yeah, and also we didn't have any sort of the foundation that we do now.
I mean, I just think that if we didn't win this year and LeBron would have come here, it just would have been cool. Would I would have rather him to come here in his prime? Absolutely. But I just think the intangibles that he brings, bro, would go so far along. And I think he would have, if we were to have the same team, let's just say, even though if we lost this year, Cat would have been out, Mike Brown would have been out. Yeah. It's just a lot of different variables that come into play. But I would have liked to see it. But I don't know, man. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens this offseason.
It is. It's going to be an interesting offseason.
Dude, LeBron is such a smart player, dog. I've never seen anybody have the effect.
His IQ was fucking crazy.
His IQ, I've never seen anybody have the effect that he has on the court. And granted, you could say that when he was in his prime, the Eastern Conference might not have been great. The opponents that he was going up against might not have been great. I get that. You could bring up the finals record 4-6. I get that. Right. But he had an extended period of time of consistent excellence, of going to the finals, of competing in the finals. Yeah. And I've never seen that in my lifetime, and I don't think I'm ever going to see that again. And up until this point, being 41 and still averaging over 20 points, and not looking like a 41-year-old on the floor and still affecting the game.
He looks like he has it easy through more years.
In that Time 100 article, he said that when he knows to hang it up is when he falls out of love with the process. when he falls out of love of getting to Crypto Arena like 5 hours prior to the game and getting his body ready and doing all that shit to just prepare for a regular season game. That's when he knows he'll hang it up. And he said, like, right now, I'm still in love with the game. He still loves everything about the game, getting ready for it, competing. And then when you take into account the effect that he has in the game, it's not like he's going from his prime, which he was averaging 28 to 32 points, to averaging fucking 12 points. He's still averaging 21.
Yeah.
Being the best player on the team this year when Luka was out, when AR was out, being the best player.
Yeah.
Willingly going to the third option when Luka and AR, willingly, not because he had to. I mean, he did have to, but like he willingly did that.
Incredible. It is.
You know? So I just have the utmost respect for him, bro. And in my lifetime, he's the GOAT. I didn't see Jordan in his prime. I didn't even see him towards the tail end of his career. Kobe, LeBron's a better player than Kobe, 100%. Kobe was very defensive. 100%, he was able to lock you down, but Kobe literally just wanted to put the ball in the basket. He was not able to make his teammates better. Yo, we did it, bro.
We did it.
This is a lengthy one. Pause. Whatever.
Or not.
But yo, the Knicks are fucking champions.
I still
we fucking did it, though.
And I know I said that I processed it by Tuesday. I still don't, like, as we're having this conversation, I'm like, yo, I don't know if I fully processed it yet. Like, I honestly don't. But they are champions. You're seeing them everywhere. Good Morning America. They're throwing out the first pitch of the Yankee game. The parade's tomorrow. So.
You're recording this on a Wednesday night. And the parade is going to be tomorrow morning. Thank God I remembered to ask you this. Did you cry? Did you tear? I teared.
I teared
when I saw it. When I saw it happen.
Me and my father hugged, and we don't hug. You don't do that. So,
that's hilarious. Real. I was watching the TV and I was teary-eyed and I kind of didn't know what I was watching. I'm being 100%.
No,
this is not for the pod. Like, I was watching the TV and I'm like,
I said the same thing.
It was fucking crazy, bro.
No, nobody that I was with, that just being me, my parents, and my kids, knew what we were seeing. Like, you couldn't, like, and that's why I made it a point to watch it with them if I was going to watch it with anyone, because these are the people that made me a Knicks fan. These are the people that went through the pain-stricken years of suffering to the Chicago Bulls. And so for them to see it was remarkable. So it was it was really like a...
And then when you see what's going on in the city, when like West Village and Williamsburg, all these watch parties, Astoria, and you see these people that fucking hug each other, people that never talk to each other. And then you're just seeing people all over the streets with their Knicks shirts.
I never talk to strangers, but when I was wearing my Knicks shit, one more game. Let's go, baby, yeah.
It was fucking
no matter where it was at.
It's beautiful, and like I just never thought I'd see this, bro. I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect after we won. I didn't know what to expect as far as like how I'd be feeling, how I'd be looking at the team, how I'm gonna be looking like at the Knicks just moving forward. Cause like moving forward, like after every season, it's like okay, next season.
Right.
Okay, next season. And then right now in this moment, yeah, we're gonna say next season, let's see what happens, but we can say that with the confidence of being a fucking champion.
Yeah.
Of just being like nobody's better than us. We have someone that we can put our fucking faith in, our confidence in. We know that he's gonna show up. We know that he's gonna hold us down. It's just amazing with so many different ways you can think about it. Before I wrap it up, what do you think about our chances of repeating? I know that's just a lot to throw at you in last second. But like, what do you think? Do you think it's possible? Do you think we gotta do something? Do you think like...
I definitely think it's possible. You know, not to sound like a broken record, but I think that something was unlocked with the adjustments that were made in the playoffs, like the coaching adjustments. But in terms of what we need to, I don't know that we need to change it, but I know that we need to figure something out with Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, he's still...
I don't know what that looks like, but man, I mean, we have the depth. Once again, assuming that this roster stays the way it is, the depth is there. We have our guy. I would say, that there's a chance. I'm not going to say, yeah, we're definitely going to repeat, because who knows? Like, Detroit is one move away.
Yeah, there might be a couple moves.
Yeah, maybe.
They gotta figure out about Duran. If they get rid of him, they gotta figure out. Excuse me. If they get rid of Duran, which I don't expect them to, but they gotta figure out who's gonna help Cade. They got a couple moves. Yeah. But I feel like the question of Knicks repeating, I feel like it's not really, when we ask that question, I don't think we should concentrate on the Knicks. I think we need to concentrate on what the Eastern Conference looks like.
Right.
Because this year, something that I forgot to mention in this pod is what the Eastern Conference looked like the entirety of the regular season and going into the playoffs. So Tyrese Halliburton missed the whole season because of the Achilles tendon. And I think I texted this to you. I was like, yo, Indiana might be our kryptonite, bro. It's just going to be very interesting to see what the Knicks are going to have to go up against in the East. And then with Giannis going to Miami, it's just a lot of Giannis going to Miami. It's just a lot of stuff that we're going to have to take a look at. But again, I think as far as Knicks repeating, it's more so, it's going to be more of like the outside rather than internal if the Knicks can repeat. Yeah. Because it looks like we're gonna run it back with the same squad. Maybe some changes around the margins, but the core five: Mikal, Josh, Jalen, and Kat. And OG. That's gonna be the returning back. So we'll see what happens, but it's gonna be very interesting. All right, man. We're gonna keep it there. Yo, my guy. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you, champ. Thank you, champ. And whoever's watching this, hit that thumbs up. Leave a comment. Hit that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. But more importantly, take a look at this picture because we're fucking NBA champions.
Champion sound.
All the links in the description for social media, all the stuff. And yo, we're champions, bro. I still don't believe it. I still don't believe it. Thanks for tuning in. Last time, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. But for me and for Mike and I, we're out. Check you out in the next episode. Peace.